Welcome to Levy Stories, where real-life stories come to life. If you're fascinated by true, emotional, and surprising stories, make sure to hit like and subscribe. Your support motivates me to keep sharing these unforgettable stories with you. Now, let's dive into today's story. My father was unaware of the profound affection my mother and sister harbored for the grander aspects of life, such as true stories. The Carter family appeared flawless to those observing from afar. Michael, a thriving entrepreneur, offered his family a world filled with warmth, stability, and the gentle embrace of a life well lived. However, beneath the surface, subtle cracks began to show. Sarah nestled by the window, cradling her evening tea as she observed the gentle dance of raindrops cascading down the glass. She possessed it all. They whispered it to each other. She had a lovely abode, a devoted partner, and two delightful children, yet solitude had woven itself into the fabric of her existence. Michael was often distant, consumed by his responsibilities, his essence lingering only in fleeting dinners and whispered late-night conversations. The vibrant chaos of college life and the allure of internships swept Emily, their daughter, away from her aspirations. She cherished her father deeply, yet had come to embrace his absence as an integral part of their journey together. The connection she shared with her mother was profound, nurtured through countless moments of empathy and shared experiences. But lately, Sarah appeared to be lost in her thoughts, her presence feeling remote. Then there was Jake, the son of Sarah's first marriage, entwined in the fabric of Michael's life. At 24, Jake exuded charm, radiated confidence, and possessed an uncanny ability to see beyond the surface. He had lived with the Carters since his teenage years, and despite Michael's constant treatment, an invisible barrier remained between them. Sarah had always viewed Jake as someone she needed to nurture, a soul she felt compelled to support and shield. Yet, as time passed, the nature of their conversations evolved. What began as innocent conversations about life and challenges gradually evolved into heartfelt revelations. She discovered solace in his voice, a gentle glow in his company. He saw her with a depth that Michael hadn't felt in years. One evening, as they stood in the kitchen, their conversation flowed with an intimacy that felt both tender and profound. The gentle hum of the refrigerator filled the space, creating an intimate silence between them. Standing by the counter, Jake's gaze was fixed on Sarah as she gracefully reached for a glass of water. "You seem weary," he murmured, his voice soft and filled with concern. Sarah's fingers curled around the glass with a gentle intensity as she exhaled softly. "I'm uncertain. Jake, there are moments when I sense a profound absence, as if I drift unnoticed in the world around me." His gaze lingered on hers, a silent connection forming between them. "You're simply not—" The silence lingered between them, heavy with unexpressed feelings. There was a moment of lingering silence between them. The gaze lingers longer than intended. Sarah averted her gaze, a wave of guilt washing over her. Yet the moment had already unfolded. Someone had gently unlatched a door, unveiling a hidden world. Upstairs, Emily gently swiped through her phone, unaware of the subtle changes unfolding below her. To her, Jake was a cherished presence, a steadfast older brother. She never once entertained the thought that the boundaries between them were softly fading in ways they never intended. Michael, in his world, remained blissfully oblivious. He had unwavering faith in his wife. He held a deep trust in his family, and he remained blissfully unaware that the very ground he stood on was beginning to tremble, hinting at the fragility of his sanctuary. As the clock struck midnight, Sarah awoke in her bed, her gaze fixed on the ceiling above. Beside her, her husband lay in peaceful slumber, the rhythm of his breath a soothing presence in the quiet night. And yet, her mind wandered, revisiting that moment. The essence of that moment hung delicately in the air between them. Sarah whispered to herself that it was merely a momentary slip, a brief dance with temptation. Yet, the gaze Jake cast upon her conveyed a different story. She lingered away from him the following day, maintaining a careful distance. Yet, the stillness that lingered between them deepened the tension. Jake had stepped beyond the innocence of childhood. He was acutely aware of the unfolding moments around him. Sarah carried a quiet solitude within her, a longing that he had observed for years. The soft, lingering sigh that escaped her lips when Michael canceled their plans conveyed a powerful message. At family dinners, her smile concealed her genuine emotions. He observed the delicate details, the nuances that Michael always overlooked. Despite the fact that it was only a fleeting moment, he was now unable to forget the way her gaze lingered on him last night. Days flowed by, and their exchanges grew tender. Deliberate, Emily lingered in her thoughts, blissfully detached from everything around her. However, Sarah and Jake noticed her detachment. Each encounter in the hallway, every brush of skin, every fleeting gaze, held an unspoken connection. Unbroken yet palpable tension hovered in the air between them. Michael's voice emanated from the phone one evening as he softly disclosed that he would be staying late for the third time. Sarah's response was subtle, almost imperceptible. She arranged the dinner table with her familiar grace, yet an unspoken tension lingered in the air, hinting at a deeper connection. Jake felt it as well. "You are not obligated to maintain a facade," he whispered, his gaze remaining fixed on her as she meticulously arranged the plates. Sarah paused briefly, her breath catching in her throat, before she managed to muster a smile. "What are we imagining? We hope you're doing well." She gazed at him, then truly absorbed every detail of his presence. His gaze lingered, filled with a quiet intensity. She despised how effortlessly he could glimpse her true self. She murmured, seemingly trying to convince herself more than him. "Jake, whatever this is, it needs to come to an end." He nodded, yet they remained still, caught in a moment that lingered between them. The distance that separated them seemed to diminish, drawing them closer in an unspoken connection. Then the power flickered, enveloping the house in a soft, intimate darkness. Emily's voice drifted down from upstairs, tinged with frustration as she searched for a flashlight, her movements filled with a quiet urgency. Yet Sarah and Jake held their ground, enveloped in a moment that lingered between them. The soft glow of candlelight from the kitchen danced gently across the walls, creating an intimate atmosphere where, for a fleeting moment, it was only the two of them. Jake's words resonated deeply within her, filling the space with a comforting warmth. But Sarah knew she had to keep her distance. It was merely a brush of skin, yet it ignited a spark, a feeling that was both thrilling and profound. She gently withdrew, creating a space between them. "This situation feels misplaced." His fingers glided through his hair with a hint of yearning as Jake exhaled. "Then share with me that you don't sense it." She felt a deep yearning for a connection that had long been absent in her life. Yet she struggled to understand the depth of her feelings. Yet she found herself unable to weave a falsehood. Before either of them could utter another word, Emily descended the stairs, her flashlight beam slicing through the shadows of the night. "Mother, Jake!" Sarah's heart raced as she forced herself to advance, and she inhaled deeply. She whispered, "I'm here." But the quietness between them was louder than any words she could speak that remained between them. Emily remained blissfully unaware. While Jake and Sarah sensed the subtle shift in the air around them, their silence had transformed into something deeper than mere solitude. The experience was unique and left a lasting impression. Emily never intended to stumble upon the note. As she rummaged through her mother's purse in search of a receipt, a folded piece of paper gracefully slipped out, capturing her attention. She hesitated, her fingers lingering on the edge, almost returning it without allowing her eyes to explore its depths. So close. The words ensnared her. "I traced the letters in Jake's well-known handwriting. I find it increasingly difficult to maintain this facade. Each time I catch a glimpse of you, the effort to conceal my emotions intensifies. Guide me on the path I should take." A flutter stirred within her. Initially, she questioned her perception. Perhaps it held a more profound meaning. Yet, within her heart, she understood. A subtle unease had lingered for weeks. She noticed the lingering looks and the charged quietness. She had sensed it, yet reassured herself that it was merely a fleeting thought. At that moment, it became impossible for her to overlook it. She maintained her distance in the following days, quietly watching and observing. Her deepest fears soon found validation. Jake hesitated as her mother entered the room. Every time Jake's name entered the conversation, Sarah's voice trembled slightly. The air was thick with an unspoken energy whenever Michael was near. Emily longed to be mistaken. She longed to be mistaken, yet the truth lingered before her, undeniable and profound. One evening, as the shadows deepened and the world outside quieted, she descended the stairs, drawn by the soft glow of the lamp, where her mother awaited her. Sarah had expressed her intention to retire for the evening, but she felt compelled to visit the backyard patio. Emily remained concealed, her heart racing as she observed Sarah step into the night. Jake was there, anticipation shimmering in the air. There was a silent understanding between them, as if their shared past spoke louder than any words they could have exchanged. They remained still, their voices held back. Yet the quiet that enveloped them conveyed a depth of feeling that words could never capture. Then, Jake gently took Sarah's hand, cradling it softly between his own. Emily sensed a flutter in her chest. Her mother remained close, a gentle presence that lingered in the moment. Please tell me this scene isn't real, Jake whispered softly. Sarah cast her gaze downward, her expression filled with a mix of longing and uncertainty. It ought not to be. Emily's hands tightened into fists, a tempest of emotions swirling within her. The subject transcended the depths of betrayal. This woman was the one who had given her life and had influenced her very essence. She had a sibling of her own, or, at least, that was the image of the man she had always imagined. She averted her gaze, wanting to shield herself from the moment and prevent the vision from etching itself in her memory for eternity. She felt a deep urge to escape, to find solace in the quiet, to unravel the thoughts swirling within her mind. As she entered her room, a tremor coursed through her hands. She felt a surge of emotion, a deep desire to express her feelings and to face them without hesitation. But what comes next? Should I share my thoughts with her father? Shatter her world in a single evening? No, she craved certainty. She longed to feel the warmth of their honesty. The following morning, she lingered, anticipating the perfect moment to arrive. Michael had departed at dawn, drawn away by the call of his responsibilities. Jake lingered in the living room, his fingers gliding over the screen of his phone, lost in thought. Sarah was gently pouring the rich, warm coffee, the aroma enveloping the room in a comforting embrace. Emily entered, her voice calm even as a tempest swirled within her. I understand. Sarah's hand lingered in the air, caught in a moment of stillness. Jake tensed. Emily's voice now carried a hint of intensity as she continued. Last night, I saw you. I saw the note. So please be honest with me. Stillness. Then, at last, Sarah placed the cup down, her hands trembling slightly. There is no escape from this moment. Sarah's complexion turned ashen. Jake averted his gaze, tension evident in his jaw. The weight of Emily's words hovered in the air, charged with an unspoken intensity, as if poised on the verge of revelation. Speak, Emily urged, her voice a blend of intensity and longing. Sarah parted her lips, yet silence enveloped her. What words could escape her lips? Was it truly an error? Was it really a mistake? In her heart, she felt a stirring, a profound uncertainty that left her searching for words to make sense of it all. Emily's hands quivered gently as she held back the swell of emotions within her. How could you do this? To Father, this prayer is for my heart. Jake finally spoke, his voice a soft whisper that lingered in the air. It unfolded unexpectedly. Emily let out a soft, bittersweet laugh. Is that the reason you offer? Sarah extended her hand toward Emily, but she retreated, her eyes tingling with apprehension. Please, don't, she whispered, her voice trembling with unspoken feelings. Do not act concerned for me while you were hiding in the shadows. Sarah's eyes shimmered with unshed tears. It was never my intention to cause you pain. Yet you did. Emily responded with a spark. You shattered it all. And for what purpose? Soft footsteps resonated through the hallway. Michael! He returned home sooner than expected. Sarah experienced a flutter in her chest as his eyes darted between them as he entered the room. What's happening? Emily turned to face him, her heart racing with anticipation. She found herself in a precarious situation. Reveal the truth and shatter his reality, or turn away and allow the deception to linger. She looked at Sarah, hoping for a hint of regret to illuminate the mystery. Yet all she perceived was trepidation. Emily took a deep breath, feeling the moment wash over her. Silence envelops the moment. She spoke at last, her voice carrying a deep emptiness. Absolutely nothing. Michael's brow furrowed. Yet he held back his words. He strolled by, unaware of the tempest that had recently swept through his sanctuary. Jake exhaled, feeling a wave of relief wash over him. However, Emily's gaze met his, unwavering and icy. This project is far from finished. Sarah brushed her cheek, her voice soft and delicate, barely rising above a whisper. Emily, I implore you, please refrain. Emily interrupted her. I've reached my limit with you. She exited the building by grasping her keys, the door closing with a resounding thud behind her. Jake stood frozen for a moment, the echo of the door reverberating in his mind. He knew that this confrontation had changed everything, and now he was left to grapple with the consequences of their fractured relationship. Sarah sank into a chair, her hands gently cradling her face. Jake stood still, understanding that the tension between them had changed the dynamics of their family, but there was still room for healing and understanding. Michael remained blissfully unaware, yet the reality loomed like an unspoken tension, ready to unravel. When it finally erupted, it would leave no one unharmed. Thank you for staying with me until the end of this story. If it touched you, don't forget to like and subscribe to Levy Stories. Your support means the world to me and encourages me to bring more impactful, real-life stories just like this one. Stay tuned for more, and I'll see you in the next video.